strategic leadership training for open your creativity, and in this topic we shall be talking about strategic thinking. Our focus in this lesson is we're going to look at the definition of strategic thinking, its characteristics, the benefits, developing the skills, an overview of the tools and techniques required, and then the common challenges that someone who does decide to go on a strategic thinking path will encounter. So what is strategic thinking? The definition. Of course, strategic thinking is a cognitive process. This means you use your mind to do it. It involves analyzing complex or very difficult situations, or situations that aren't easy for everyone to navigate, and considering multiple perspectives. So these may be your own or those of others, and then also devising effective plans or strategies to achieve specific or set out objectives or goals. Now, this basically, in summary, we have three parts of this cognitive process: thinking critically, anticipating future trends, and assessing risks. At the end of the day, you should be able to make informed decisions to navigate your challenges and capitalize on opportunities that you might find. Right, so let's go further. But before we do, let's look at the difference between tactical thinking and strategic thinking, because they can often be confused. Tactical centers on the immediate actions that need to be taken, or problems that we are facing immediately, and this one employs detailed plans for specific outcomes, right? So you've got intricate plans, you know exactly from step A to step B, whereas strategy is the broader term, and this one looks on the larger context, right? Predicting what are the future trends, what you anticipate the future should be, and therefore helps you to make decisions for enduring success. The characteristics of a critical thinker, of course, one has to be visionary, which means seeing into the future, far into the future enough to be able to decide what to do today. You must be analytical. That means you think, and not just be analytical for the sake of being smart, but the sake of navigating and showing people how to proceed. Of course, creativity in everything that we do as open your creativity. Always include creativity. That means being innovative, seeing things a different way, and this is very entwined with being flexible, open-minded, open-hearted, being adaptable to change, and we'll talk about this a bit later, as well as future-oriented, as said before, and having that problem-solving mindset, not problem-dwelling. What are the benefits? You might say, of course, yeah, the benefits might seem obvious, but let me just state a few. Enhanced decision-making, which means your decision-making is not flimsy. It is based on facts or things that you have thought about clearly. Improved problem-solving abilities, effective planning and execution. Because yes, of course, people are planning all the time, but are your plans effective? How many times do you look back on your plan and what actually happened, and there's a big difference? Of course, there usually will be a difference, but the difference should not be too far from what you planned if you are a strategic thinker. Of course, adaptability to change, we've spoken about that, flexibility. And the last two we haven't yet spoken about, and that is competitive advantage. Whether you're a leader in an organization or an entrepreneur, whatever road you take as a strategic thinker, you should have a competitive advantage, and then of course long-term success should be yours. How now do you develop the skills? So there's many ways of developing the skill. Of course, some people are going to go to school for it. Some people might have a mentor or a coach, and probably these are the things that they're going to tell you. Scan your environment, understand where you are or where you've been, and where you are, what has it been like before you were there, right? Was it a forest? Was it a clearing? Was it a city? What was going on? Was it thriving? Was it not thriving? You must understand those things if you're going to be a proper strategic thinker. Then do your SWOT analysis. Of course, strength and weakness, you're talking about the things inside yourself, the things that you have control of. Whereas opportunities and threats, more often than not, they're coming from outside. You have no idea what is happening or is going to happen. And then, of course, scenario planning. Scenario planning includes thinking about or idealizing your future. You think about it, you see it in your head, and you say, this is what I want it to look like. Of course, then critical thinking exercises. So these might be quizzes, games, whichever way that keeps your mind active and sharp. You might do that in order to develop critical thinking skills. And last but not least, the last two, decision-making frameworks. Most industries have if and then decision-making frameworks, and that's like cause and effect. So if this happens, then that should happen. And of course, the last part, you must assess assessment. You must do risk assessments, and also how to manage the risks that will come. So what are the tools and techniques? So you've got brainstorming. I won't go into detail with these ones, but if you would like, I can give you links to read books or to see videos on it, so because they've been discussed in detail in other trainings. So brainstorming, that's just coming up with any wild idea before you choose a thesis or a specific, a centralized idea. And then you've got mind mapping. Now, mind mapping generally should start with the beginning and then an end. Then in the middle, you put in the various possible aspects that can help you to get to the end. And then Blue Ocean's strategy. So the Blue Ocean strategy, it is a book. It's based on a book, and I recommend that you find this book. I think it should be on every leader's bookshelf, because it helps to show how you can be a leader or an organization without having to fight and drown in red rivers, red oceans, where people are killing each other or stumbling over each other for competition. But Blue Oceans lets you stand apart and be your own person or organization. Then Potter's 5 Forces analysis is another method. Again, this one is in a paper. You can use this one in order to get to understand the forces that help critical thinkers. And of course, the PESTEL analysis. Now here you're looking at your political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental systems, and saying how can I navigate through them and make sure that my decisions are great. Game theory. This theory basically talks about the gamification of life, of processes. How can you do strategic thinking within a game? So for example, chess, right? Chess helps people to be strategic in their thinking if you play it enough times. And then strategic alignment frameworks. Now you are looking at what aligns with me, who aligns with me, and how can I get those people or things that are strategically aligned to my values, my goals, my objectives. So I'm going to just also go through the challenges. There's of course quite a number, but these ones are probably more universal. So short-term focus means you look at what is happening now and what needs to be done now. And if you're going to consider your production quadrant, you look at what is urgent and needs to be done now. So what's important and urgent. And then you can, but that can also be overwhelming if there's so many small short-term focuses that can then become disruptions to your actual strategic thinking. Uncertainty and ambiguity, nothing is certain in life, and so you need to have space for this. If you don't know this challenge, then you are in trouble, or you are delusional and lying to yourself. Of course, there's always going to be something that just changes what you may have planned, and this is okay. It's normal. Don't stress too much. Of course, complexity, that means how difficult something is in terms of coordinating between departments. Resistant to change. very true in the 21st century, where people might want to just challenge you for the sake of it, or may have real concerns as to why the change, why should we follow the strategic sort of plan or line of thinking. And of course, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is about looking at the things that you believe and saying, okay, it's true. And if you have it and it's too strong, you might miss out on other opportunities or opinions which may improve your situation or the situation of the organization. Then, of course, constraints in terms of resources such as money, time, people. Last but not least, silos and the lack of communication, where people prefer to work alone and not in teams. You may have to push them to collaborate, or even push yourself at times, because you might also be one of those people who says, I do things faster by myself. But yeah, if you want to go somewhere fast, you can go by yourself. But if you want to get there and go beyond, you will need others to collaborate with you. So, after all said and done, I hope that you can really think about strategic communication as a leader. How does it help you? Where can you apply some of the concepts that I've said? And how can you achieve the best of yourself? And as always, you can either have excuses or you can have excuses or results. But my dear, you can never have both. So from my heart to yours, I hope this is a great and interesting and insightful presentation. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.